Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through some player props I like over on Prizepicks for today's Monday Night Football game for Week 12. We got a really good Monday night game tonight. We got a game between the Ravens and the Chargers. Sets up as a pretty exciting one. I think the total in this game is like 50.5, so we do have sort of a higher scoring projected game. Got a close spread as well. I think Ravens are favored by 2.5. So we got two player props, guys, that I like over on Prizepicks that we're going to break down and talk about in this Monday Night Football game. Now, before we do get started, as always, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, and if they do help you out, make sure to hit that like button down below. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have an account over on Prizepicks, make sure to sign up and use promo code NOAH when you sign up for Prizepicks with my promo code and place your first lineup. You'll get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account. So be sure to go check out Prizepicks if you guys have not yet. And also, we do have a partnership with Sleeper. If you guys want to sign up for Sleeper, you can do so, linked down below in the description, or just use that promo code NOAH over on Sleeper. And for a limited time, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $1,500. So normally, Sleeper matches your first deposit up to $100, but right now they're taking in larger deposits, so you can deposit $1,500, and they will give you an additional $1,500 to play with. So if you do want to go check out Sleeper, again, guys, you can sign up and use promo code NOAH, and for a limited time, get your first deposit matched up to $1,500. Go check out Sleeper if you guys have not yet. But let's go ahead and talk about props that I'm liking for this Monday Night Football game. We got two plays. Now, I do want to recap our plays from Sunday's NFL slate. So we gave out 3 plays for the NFL slate Sunday. We hit 2 out of the 3. Couldn't get a full sweep, though. We did hit both of our target props. Took Michael Pittman for more than 5.5 targets. He had 7 targets, had a pretty good game against the Lions. I think he had like 6 catches for 90 yards, something like that. And then we took Amir Abdullah for more than 3 targets. That game's still going on at the time I'm recording this video, but Abdullah had a good game, as a pass catcher, which is something that he's historically done. He had four targets in the first half, easily cleared his targets prop, hit that in the first half. So hopefully you guys made some money. I know we couldn't get the full sweep, but still went 2 out of the 3. Unfortunately, Kareem Hunt, over 14 fantasy score, did not hit for us. Really like that spot for Kareem Hunt, like the matchup a lot. Chiefs went out there and scored 27 points, I think, against the Panthers or like 30 points. And it just so happened that, all their offensive touchdowns came through Patrick Mahomes. None of them came on the ground, which facing a Panthers team that gives up the most touchdowns to running backs, you would have expected some of their offensive production, their scoring to come through the RBs, but that wasn't the case. Sunday, it is what it is. 2 out of 3, though. Hopefully you guys made some money with us. Let's try and go 2-2 here. We got 2 plays for Monday Night Football. So first prop that I'm liking for Monday night is going to be a rush yards prop. And I'm liking Lamar Jackson for more than 42.5 rush yards. So we all know that Lamar is a dual threat quarterback. He's a guy that uses his legs a lot. This line of 42.5, this is a line that he has gone over in 8 out of 11 games this season. And if you look at the games where he went under, he didn't go under by much. He had 40 yards against Washington. He had 33 yards against Cincinnati. And then he did have a really weird game against Denver where he only had 4 rush yards. But we've seen Lamar run for 122 yards against the Chiefs, 87 against the Cowboys, 55, 54. Like, he's a guy that typically averages about like over 50 rush yards per game. This season, I want to say he's averaging like, let's see, I'm gonna pull it up real quick. This season, I think he's averaging like 55 yards per game, something like that, maybe 52, 53. So he's been very good with his legs, like he's historically been. This is a matchup against the Chargers too that I think is a pretty good one for Lamar to be able to use his legs. This season, the Chargers do rank top 10 in terms of rush yards allowed to opposing quarterbacks. And if we look at what quarterbacks have done against the Chargers this season, so the Chargers have given up some big games to quarterbacks on the ground. Kyler Murray ran for over 60 yards against them. I'm going to pull up the games just to confirm, but I was looking at it earlier. Kyler ran for, let's see. He had 63 yards. Let's see. Yes, 66 yards for Kyler Murray, 61 for Bo Nix, 41 for Will Levis. Even Joe Burrow had 28. Jameis Winston had 27. Patrick Mahomes had 12. And then, some other guys had some rush yards. But when they have faced like dual threat quarterbacks, they have given up some big games. Specifically to Bo Nix, who's a dual threat quarterback. Specifically to Kyler Murray, who's a dual threat quarterback. These are guys that have shown the ability to use their legs. Now they're facing probably the best dual threat quarterback in the NFL, in Lamar Jackson. So I do like this prop a lot on Lamar Jackson for more than 42.5 rush yards. And I was looking at some sportsbook odds. Right now, DraftKings actually has their rush yards line on Lamar set at 45.5. So I think we're getting a little bit of a lower line here on Prizepicks. If you kind of look around the industry, Prizepicks definitely has the lowest rush yards line of any book and DFS site out there. So I do like this play quite a bit. Going to take Lamar Jackson for more than 42.5 rush yards. And then the play that we're going to pair with that is going to be a prop on Justin Herbert. And we're going to take Justin Herbert for more than 18.5 fantasy score. So you can look at Justin Herbert's projections. He's got some higher lines than we're used to seeing for Herbert, and that's mainly due to the matchup here against the Ravens. The Ravens have been a major pass funnel this season. They've been the biggest pass funnel in the league. The way you beat this Ravens defense is by throwing against them. Like, the Ravens have not really given up much production to running backs this year, but they've given up a lot of production to quarterbacks. So if you look at what they've allowed to quarterbacks this season in terms of like completions, they're giving up the most completions to quarterbacks, the most pass attempts, the most passing yards. They're giving up the third most touchdowns, and they're giving up the third most fantasy points to the quarterback position. And then if we look at what they've allowed to running backs, it's all towards the bottom. They're giving up the third fewest rush yards. They're giving up like the seventh fewest attempts. So teams have just kind of gone into it knowing that if they're going to beat the Ravens, they're going to have to do it through the air. So I'm expecting a little bit more of a pass-heavy script here for the Chargers. I mean, you look at Justin Herbert's pass attempts line, that's set at 34.5. Herbert typically doesn't come close to 34.5 pass attempts, especially with their new head coach, Jim Harbaugh. They have become a team that's been more kind of run first, run heavy. But lately, we've seen them show a willingness to let Herbert kind of air it out. He did have 36 pass attempts last week against Cincinnati. I'm expecting more pass attempts for Herbert here in what is a matchup that suits him to be able to throw the ball against a very weak Ravens secondary. And you look at his fantasy score line of 18.5. Realistically, for him to go over this line, we need probably about 230, 240 pass yards. Maybe he gives us like 10, 20 rush yards, and then probably 2 touchdowns. If you don't want to take fantasy score, I do also like Herbert for more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. But I think if Herbert throws 2 touchdowns, he probably goes over this fantasy score line. Pretty sure in every game this season where he's thrown 2 touchdowns, he's gone over this line. So let's see. Against Carolina, he did throw 2 touchdowns in week 2, but only had 12 fantasy points, mainly because he only threw for 130 yards. But threw for 2 touchdowns against the Saints, 24 fantasy points, 2 touchdowns against Cleveland, 19 fantasy points. Last week, he did only throw for 1 touchdown, but he still had 19.7 fantasy points because he did have a rushing touchdown. And then last week, threw for 2 touchdowns, 24 fantasy points. Like I said, I think if Herbert throws 2 touchdowns, probably goes over this fantasy score line, especially because he should be able to get pass yards in this matchup. He's got a 257.5 pass yards prop. But honestly, I do like both these here. Justin Herbert for more than 18.5 fantasy score. Justin Herbert for more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Just expecting a good amount of pass attempts for Herbert here. Not expecting the Chargers to have much success running the ball against this Ravens team. The way you beat the Chargers is through the air. And you look at what Herbert's been doing lately. He's been doing it through the air. I mean, he's been looking really good as a passer. His fantasy upside has been a lot higher. He's had some games lately with 279, 354, 297 pass yards, and the touchdowns have been there too. At least 2 touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns in 3 out of his last 4 games. At least 2 total touchdowns in all of his last 4 games. Again, the Tennessee game, he did have 1 passing touchdown and 1 rushing touchdown. And then if you look at rushing, obviously for fantasy score, you get points for everything. You get points for pass yards, you get points for rush yards. Herbert has shown a willingness to run lately. He had 49 rush yards against the Saints, 32 against Tennessee, 65 last week against Cincinnati. So if Herbert's going to be running like that, that's only just going to add to his upside for fantasy score. I think this line of 18.5 is a bit low on Herbert. I think this line should probably be about 19.5. Right now, Underdog, I think they have their fantasy point line on Herbert set at 19.25. So I think Prizepicks is a little low on Herbert here, just given the matchup. Most projections you look at have Herbert for over 19 fantasy points. So give me his over more than 18.5 fantasy score for Justin Herbert as our second play for Monday Night Football. So we've got 2 props, guys, for Monday night. Just going to keep it simple, roll with 2 plays. Lamar Jackson, more than 42.5 rush yards, and Justin Herbert, more than 18.5 fantasy score. So if you guys are going to tell me on these 2 plays, let's try to hit both these plays for Monday night, guys. Let's try and make some money on this game. Appreciate you guys watching the Prizepicks videos, the Prizepicks content. As always, make sure to hit that like button down below if you did enjoy. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys have not yet. Also, if you are new to Prizepicks, if you don't have an account over there, sign up, use promo code NOAH. When you place your first lineup on Prizepicks, you get $50 in promo funds instantly added to your account when you sign up and use code NOAH. But Good luck tonight, as always, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next video.